Hello, friends. In today's questions on current affairs, we begin with something that we mentioned in the previous session, Cambodia. Now, I'm going to discuss Cambodia in a bit detailed manner. This is because of what the past of Cambodia has been. It's been pretty volatile. It's been pretty sad, I would say tragic. Actually, the people of the country have suffered a great deal of violence in the last 30 years, like 40 years. So, what's been the violence like, and who perpetrated this violence? So, let me take you there. And I have three slides on this. The first question is, of course, a simple one. I'll come to that. I just put this question for fun, and this is what I'm going to discuss. What are these pictures about? And see, the capital of Cambodia, of course, as you know, is Phnom Penh. Yeah, Phnom Penh. And this is the capital of Vietnam. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam. I'm not really concerned about these countries. Vientiane is Laos. This is Laos. Bangkok, Thailand. Dhaka, of course, as you all know, the capital of Bangladesh. Fair. And we in the previous session had mentioned this particular temple. We discussed this temple's name as Angkor Wat, and we also mentioned that this was built by the Khmer king Suryavarman II sometime between 1115 and 1145, in Common Era. Now, I want you to know something more here, that the word Khmer is related to the main ethnic group in this country. An ethnic group is a group of people who have more or less a common culture, a common way of life, speak more or less a common language, and of course have similar customs and traditions. I said almost or similar, yeah. Not necessarily that everyone follows the same thing, but yes, they're bound by a certain way of life. So the Khmer is the name of the main ethnic group in Cambodia. Let me take you to this. See, I'm going to tell you the story of the Cambodian genocide. I understand that this may not relate to any of the question, any of the exams that you could be sitting for, but I want you to become familiar with the recent past of Cambodia. This is an incident that, no, I wouldn't call it an incident. I would call it a tragic, history of Cambodia that saw the deaths of nearly 25 lakh people. Estimates vary between 15 to 35 lakh. I'll take the middle ground, 25 lakh. So who perpetrated and what was this about? See, this violence was perpetrated by a terrorist, not exactly a terrorist group, but yeah, usually I would say terrorist group, by ultra left-wing communist group called the Khmer Rouge. Khmer, as I said, is the main ethnic group. Rouge is a French word meaning red. We also mentioned in the previous session that these three countries, were all ruled by France, and together they were called the Indochina region. So the French influence has been quite deep in these countries. Look at this now. The Khmer Rouge was an ultra left-wing militant group that came to power in 1975. In April 1975. Now, I remember the exact date to be 17th April 1975. But I also want you to understand something more here, that the next 4 years since coming to power, they killed millions of their own countrymen, country persons, I would say, compatriots. Who was the leader of this group and what was their ideology? This person was the leader, Pol Pot. Pol Pot. This was his not official name, but yeah, you could say that this was his, popular name. His real name was Salot Sar. Salot Sar. Salot Sar headed this ultra left-wing Maoist communist group called Khmer Rouge. After years of battling the democratic government of Cambodia, wherein the head of the government was a monarch. You know, this Pol Pot, you can see this guy here. This is the leader. Okay, he captured power in April 1975. Now starts the story. As soon as he grabbed power, his cadre, the people following him there, his cadre started a regime of terror. He believed in an agrarian utopia. Today we call it utopia, but he believed in agrarian collectivism, agriculture collectivism. See, those of you who are not greatly familiar with the word utopia, listen, I'll make it easy for you. U means without, top means land, a land that does not exist. It's an imaginary land, a land of fantasy. It's a fantasy land. So he believed in agrarian collectivism, which means that all the land in the country would be, taken over by the government, and each parcel of land would be turned into a communion. Means a village would have some basic authority over a piece of land. So he believed in agrarian collectivism. The ideology of this group was simple: to bring in a self-sufficient or a self-reliant Cambodian nation. So as soon as he came to power, he pushed people in the Cambodian Khmer Rouge army, pushed people into the countryside. They were told that, look, we need to move into the countryside. We need to move into the countryside, and we shall then bring in a revolution. People were herded, pushed into the countryside. Those who refused were shot dead or simply killed. Initially, they were told that they would move away from the city from urban centers for about 3 days. They would be away for 3 days and then come back. But that never happened. People were herded into the countryside. So in the process, what he did was this. He closed down all educational institutes. Pol Pot closed down all educational institutes. No schools, no colleges, no institutions of higher learning. So no education. One, that is one. Number two, he disallowed currency. Yes, no currency in the country. He took over all the banks, took away all the funds, especially the foreign exchange. And in those days, pretty little foreign exchange was available with Cambodia. He put a bomb. See, when I say he, Pol Pot, which means Khmer Rouge, he was a leader. A big bomb was put in the central bank of Cambodia and detonated. The bank flew up in the air. The central bank of Cambodia was destroyed. So no foreign currency, no national currency. Okay, hey, this happened in 75, not very far. Then he also said that, we shall now look for, taking over. We shall be working toward, all of us shall be working towards bringing in an agrarian revolution in the country. We don't need the world, he said. We don't need the world. We can grow what we need. We can grow what we need. And we shall have social ownership of all the land in the country. See, initially, the people who were, landless, the peasants, landless, the oppressed under the moneylenders and all these people were very happy that this guy came about. He burst on the scene and he disallowed, land holdings, he disallowed money and everything. They were quite happy. But what they did not know was what to come. And, he not only, abolished banking, finance, currency, he banned commercial fishing also. And this is a land which has a pretty good coastline. You can see this here. Yeah, pretty good coastline. So no commercial fishing. Even in the the Mekong River tributaries and everything that flow through the Cambodia, people were not allowed to sell fish. They could not sell fish. They could grow only for the people around for free. Okay. Now, in the process of taking away the people, they were asked to write, each person was asked to write a brief biography, autobiographical note. Now, this note determined whether the person would live or die. Yes. See, a person, let's say, would be asked to, write a short note. Would be asked to write a short note. Is there a paper there? No, I'm sorry, there is no paper here. He would be asked to write a short note. So, if I would write, let's say, I'm a teacher. Then, on the way to this, into the countryside, into the rural areas, I would be killed. Who was killed? Anyone who could read. Yes, anyone who could read, anyone who wore spectacles. Wearing spectacles in those days was a sign of intellectualism. Not now, of course, I wear spectacles, but I'm no intellectual. So, teachers, students, most students, military persons, government officials, all these people were killed. And I'm not kidding. No, there's nothing to kid about. This is a very tragic thing. Okay. The Khmer Rouge killed all of them. And then they were taken into countryside. As they were taken to countryside, from the crack of dawn, sunrise, till sunset, because there is no electricity, the thing, people were made to work in the day in the fields. Anyone who would go against the Khmer army would be killed instantly. Guys, this picture you see down there, that's mass graves. These are all mass graves. So it is believed that after the regime was defeated in 1979, 24,000 mass graves like this were found. These are 6. 24,000 mass graves means which contain more than one dead body. 24,000 of these were found, which are said to have contained about 13 lakh dead bodies. Can you believe this? 13 lakh dead bodies in 24,000 mass graves. So people were killed because they did not subscribe to the ideology of this man. They did not believe in what Khmer Rouge was saying. Okay. If someone would say, I could not work today, I am not well, the person would be beaten, flogged, or sometimes killed. And if you think they would stop at, let's say, they would stop at elderly people. No, you see this. You see this here? This is a picture. This picture showcases a tree. It says Chankiri tree against which executioners beat children. Yes. They would hold children by their legs, twirl them and bash their heads against this tree. I'm not kidding. This is what the Khmer communists did. The Khmer Rouge, which was a communist terrorist group, they did this. They killed lakhs of children, lakhs and lakhs of children. Because the parents did not believe in the ideology of the Khmer Rouge. Because the children were seen as a pest, or the children were seen as a nuisance, as the future rebels. And you see this here. This was a school turned into a prison. Tuol Sleng prison. This is called Security Prison 21. A school slightly outside Phnom Penh. This school was turned into prison, and it is believed that through the gates of this prison, you see all these political prisoners and all, they were put into small cells like this. Okay. Inexplicable, indescribable torture was meted out to against this to these prisoners. They would take electric shocks. They would give electric shocks to the head, to the genital areas. Children would be taken away from mothers. You can check, all these photographs are available on the net, okay, on the internet. So it is believed that only 6 of the nearly 2.5 lakh people who moved through the gates of this prison survived. Only 6 people survived. 2.5 lakh people are said to have entered the prison. Only 6 survived. Only 6 survived. So we need to understand that this brutal communist power, it's inexplicable, my friends. It's something that that we cannot even think of. This is a kind of, and it didn't happen very far in the past. It happened just at the time 75 to 79, 75 to 77. There was emergency in India. There was a kind of autocracy in India as well. Yeah. And how many people died? And what happened to this? How did it end? It ended. See, I am cutting short the story, thinking that I'm with the simple idea that you may not require all these, all the details that I have given you. But I wanted to tell you a story. I wanted you to become familiar. And as a teacher, as your teacher, someone who's greatly interested in learning, I want you to learn more about this Cambodian genocide. Okay. It is believed that in the 4 years, this man or his Khmer army are said to have killed anywhere between, 13 lakh to 35 lakh people. Estimates vary depending on what source you consult, but that's no small number. You know how big was this number? 25% of the country's population was killed by this man and his army. 25% of Cambodian army was killed because he believed in communism, in an extreme form of communism. And who was his principal backer? The principal backer was this guy named, was this country called China. Yes, China was his principal backer. Mao Zedong, the leader of China, who died in 1976, a year after this man came to power, he supported this. 90% of the aid money, paisa, that this man, his Khmer Rouge got from overseas came from China, because China wanted him to be their man in Cambodia. Think about it. Evil he was, evil. In 1979, 4 years after this, the Vietnamese forces, Vietnam, as you see, the next country here, they invaded Cambodia, threw out this man, defeated this man, his army, and restored democracy. Restored democracy. They especially killed minorities. These guys especially killed minorities. Though they were communist and not religious. So they were atheists. Communists are atheists. Yeah. Communists, by definition, do not believe in the existence of God. So whenever someone says that, there is this person who is a communist and they believe in God, especially in Islamic countries, there are communist parties. I have never understood this. Yeah, I have never understood, because as we all know, atheism is not allowed in Islam. Most faiths in the world do not, allow atheism, especially Islam. So this entire idea, that there could be Muslim communists, rebels against, this idea, this thought. 23 years later, he died. That is 1998. And none of them, except for, there was a truth commission, there was a reconciliation commission. Some people were sentenced to jail for life, but that's about it. No one was given any death punishment because it was not allowed. Think about it. Yeah, 75 to 79, 4 years of madness in this country. So this, because these people were killed in, agriculture fields, these fields came to be known as Killing Fields. Killing Fields. There is a film called Killing Fields. Watch it. You can. This is the spelling of the. This is the name of the prison. You could look up this prison. Yeah. Which country, along with Sweden, recently launched the Lead It, which is the Leadership for Industry Transition Summit on on the sideline of COP27. COP, as you would know, is conference of parties. Conference of parties. So this was, of course, India and Sweden led this. You could write this. India and Sweden. You could write one particular point. India and Sweden launched. Lead IT or Lead It in short. Lead It in 2019. 2019 dash 37 members. Today it has 37 members. 37 members. In brackets, latest members are Japan and South Africa. Japan and South Africa. Japan and South Africa. And okay, dash committed to reducing, committed to low carbon transition. So the idea is to reduce carbon footprint and everything, carbon emissions, and bring about a low carbon transition. Okay, that's about it. Sweden has a new Prime Minister, Ulf Kristersson. Ulf Kristersson. Okay, I guess that should be fine. That should be fine. Yeah. The National Commission for Women launched the fourth phase of the Digital Shakti campaign, a pan-India project on digitally empowering and skilling women and girls in cyberspace. The chairperson of the NCW is Rekha Sharma. You could write NCW, statutory body. You know what's a statutory body? You can brackets. Created by an act of parliament. Created by an act of parliament. In 1992. Next, one of the choices is this. The other choices are not important. Priyank Kanungo. You could write chairperson of the National Commission for the protection of child rights. For the protection of child rights. Okay. Sure. As of November 18, 2022, whom of the following is not a member of the Niti Aayog? These three are members. This guy is not a member. From what I know, the answer is given none of this. But I think this guy is also not a member. Currently not a member. I went to the Niti Aayog website. See, I should have checked this because, these questions are prepared by my colleagues, my team, the team around me. So anyway, I found that Arvind Virmani is not a member of the Niti Aayog, but I'll correct myself if this answer is right. Okay. So who is VK Saraswat, Vinod Kumar, Vijay Kumar Saraswat. Vijay Kumar Saraswat is the ex-Director General of the DRDO, which is the Defense Research and Development Organization. Defense Research and Development Organization, VK Saraswat, Vijay Kumar Saraswat. Ramesh Chand, Professor Ramesh Chand, let's not get there. He holds a PhD, in agriculture economics. And VK Paul, Vinod Kumar Paul, Vinod Kumar Paul. Maybe because it's a cutoff date, Arvind Mirmani is also was a member, but I think for as of today, he's not a member. Okay, which is this is 25th. What we say, 25th of November. Okay. Named the most powerful rocket launched recently to the moon by the American Space Agency, NASA. NASA is the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Okay. Artemis. This is it. And what is this? This is, see, to make it popular among in the general population, NASA launched a website. And on the website, they were told, the people who would register were given a boarding pass aboard, that they could travel aboard Artemis 1. But the Artemis, you could write this, was an unmanned or what is called uncrewed. There is a new word these days, uncrewed. Okay. Lunar orbital, I'm so sorry. Lunar orbital test flight. Okay, uncrewed lunar orbital test flight. Now this is going to go around the moon and come back, and it's going to travel a total of, you could write 21 lakh square kilometers. Total distance to be traveled 21 lakh kilometers. Now you may wonder, the moon is not that far. Well, the moon is not that far. The distance between the Earth and the moon is 3.84 lakh kilometers. 3.84 lakh kilometers, because it's going to take an orbit and go around the moon twice. Yeah, that's why it's 21 lakh kilometers. Yeah. So, see this. On this boarding pass, you will get everything. Where was his launch site? Launch site, Kennedy Space Center, Florida. Okay. Launch vehicle, Space Launch System, SLS. So, the launch vehicle is called, it's a new vehicle, Space Launch, System, SLS. The launch destination, of course, going around the moon, that is a lunar orbit. And what is a spacecraft that would go around the, Artemis is a rocket. Remember, Artemis is a rocket. The rocket is going to carry a lunar module, and the lunar module or the spacecraft will be called Orion. Okay? Orion. Yeah. Yes. How much time does moonlight take to reach the Earth? Moonlight takes 1.3 seconds. You may wonder, how is this possible? There is no moonlight. Well, moonlight is reflected sunlight. How much? What is it? Reflected sunlight. So the sun's rays fall on the moon, because the moon is not a luminescent body. It reflects the rays back to Earth. And the light that we see on the moon is reflected sunlight. Reflected sunlight. The distance between the Earth and the moon is 3.84 lakh kilometers, and the speed of light is 3 lakh kilometers per second. That is why it takes 1.3 seconds. 1.29 take 1.3 seconds. Okay. Yeah. To facilitate trade in the rupee, the RBI recently allowed the opening of 9 special Vostro accounts of Russian banks with Indian lenders, or 2 banks called, UCO Bank and IndusInd Bank. UCO, you could write this. UCO. Okay. UCO is It has CEO's, what is the CEO's name? Soma Shankara Prasad. You could write Soma Shankara Prasad. Soma Shankara Prasad. IndusInd Bank. Sumant Katpalia. Sumant Katpalia. Okay, Sumant Katpalia. ICICI Bank, Sandeep Bakshi. Sandeep Bakshi. SBI, Dinesh Khara. HDFC Bank, Sashidhar Jagdishan. Sashidhar Jagdishan. IDBI Bank, Rakesh Sharma. Rakesh Sharma. Kotak Mahindra Bank, Uday Kotak. Canara Bank. Canara Bank. Lingam Venkat Prabhakar. Lingam Venkat Prabhakar. Lingam Venkat Prabhakar. Lingam Venkat Prabhakar. Bank of Baroda. Bank of Baroda is run by Sanjeev Chadda. Sanjeev Chadda. Sanjeev Chadda. Punjab National Bank, Atul Kumar Goyal. Atul Kumar Goyal. Atul Kumar Goyal. Okay, everything has come. What is the theme of India's G20 presidency? I think we discussed this in the past, but anyway, I'm going to tell you the names of the. I'm going to interpret this map for you. You see this here. These are all G20 countries. This color, pink color, G20. Okay. You see this in yellow here. This is Spain. Spain is a permanently invited member. Permanent invitee. Permanent invitee. Permanent invitee. So let me take you to the members of the G20. You could write G20. What if you are asked which of the following is not a member of the G20? So write G20. Group of 20. Group of 20. Next. G7 in brackets. Canada, US, UK. I do not put dots between U and K after U. No, I do not put dots after U and K. But US, yes, I put dots. Canada, US, UK, France, Italy, Germany, and Japan. So we got 7 countries here. Okay, plus European Union. So you may wonder, array, Germany is already there, France is there, Italy is there. Those countries which are part of the EU but are directly not members of the G20 are members of the G20 through EU. Got it? You see this. You see this. Norway, Finland. Okay. You have countries like Romania, Poland, Bulgaria, Belgium, Netherlands. These are directly not members of the G20, but through the European Union. By virtue of being a European Union member, they are a member of the G20. So G7 plus European Union plus, now how many have come? G7, 7 countries plus 1 European Union, 8. So now write the rest. Let's look at the map. Okay. Mexico, 1. Mexico. Brazil, Brazil. Argentina, Argentina, Argentina. Okay. 4, South Africa, South Africa. 5, what is this? Russia, Russia. 6, Turkey or Turkey, Turkey. 7, Saudi Arabia. Okay, Saudi Arabia. Then we have India, 8. 9, China. 10, South Korea. 11, Indonesia. Indonesia. 12, what is this? 12 is Australia. Australia. Now guys, there are 12. European Union is 13. G7, 7. So 13 plus 7, 20. We got all 20 members. Okay. It's easy to learn. Trust me. You could also write permanent invitee, Spain. Permanent invitee, Spain. Permanent invitee, Spain. Chal. Which country hosted the CITES COP19? What is CITES? What is COP? COP is Conference of Parties. What is CITES? You could write this. CITES COP19 dash 19th meeting of the Conference of Parties. 19th meeting of the Conference of Parties to the convention on international trade, to the convention on international trade in endangered species. Endangered species of wild flora and fauna. Flora and fauna. Cool. Panama. This is Panama. It's a country that connects North America with South America. If you look at Colombia in South America, it's a country that connects South America with North America. Actually, these two countries connect North and South America. Now, let's write this. Panama, capital is Panama City. Panama City. Panama City. The president here is Laurentino Cortijo. Laurentino Cortijo. And the currency is Balboa. Balboa. US dollar is also accepted, but the national currency is Balboa. Costa Rica. This is Costa Rica. This is the Spanish word name for rich coast. Costa Rica. Rich coast. What is the capital? You can see here. San Jose. The J is pronounced with an H. Okay. The president is Rodrigo Chaves or Chavez. And the currency is a part of your body, our body rather, colon, colon, colon. Next, Nicaragua. You see this country in yellow there? Nicaragua. One of my favorite childhood countries. I used to read a lot about these kinds of countries, so it's fun. Nicaragua's capital is Managua. 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 The president is Daniel Ortega. Daniel Ortega. The currency is Cordoba. Cordoba. Chalo, let's go to South America now. Brazil. They may ask you this question on Brazil, the new president of Brazil. You know the capital is Brasilia. It's named after a kind of wood, Brasilia. The new president is Lula Inácio da Silva. In some places, you may find the name as Inácio Lula da Silva. Do not worry. Lula is a nickname. Lula is a nickname. His actual name is Inácio. Inacio. Inácio da Silva. Then, Inácio da Silva. The currency is real. He defeated the outgoing president is the guy who lost the election, Jair Bolsonaro. Correct spelling. Bolsonaro. Chile is the longest, I think, longest north-south country. This Chile's capital is Santiago. These are Spanish names. Santiago. And the president is Gabriel Boric. While the currency is Chilean peso. Next. Which group launched a global shield against climate risk at the COP27 summit in Egypt? This summit was held in a place called Sharm el-Sheikh. Egypt. Okay. So it was launched by the G7 and the G20 and the G7 and the V20. So what is the V20 and what is this summit about? What is this global shield against climate risk? Write this. Global shield against climate risks dash. Or underline that. I'll give you 2-3 points. 1. Under this, vulnerable countries will get quick cash, Q-U-I-C-K, quick cash to manage disasters like extreme flooding and drought, famine. ठीक है? ठीक, चलो आगे चलते हैं. Next, launched by the G7 and the V20 dash. The V20 is a group of vulnerable, not 20, you remove this, vulnerable nations. Vulnerable to what? Extreme climate events, especially sea level rise, flooding. Okay, vulnerable nations. So it would contain, while it's mentioned G20, V20, it has actually 58 nations. The finance ministers of 58 nations meet, met recently to, to discuss issues concerning the fates of their nations, their vulnerable nations. Now you see, this is this small island called Tuvalu. Yeah, it's already said that we may end up being the world's first digital nation. We may have to move our people away. We may have to move our assets away. We may, because the sea level is rising. Ours is a low-lying country. At the same time, sea level rise is contaminating freshwater resources on our lands. Small islands they are. So people will have to move out. See, there are different kinds of problems in this world. Yeah, I mean, it's really terrible out there. Next, last point. Initial contribution of 170 million euros or $172 million, $172 million by Germany. Initial contribution of $172 million by Germany, and another $42 million, and another $42 million from other nations. Last point. Let's write her. First recipients in brackets, also called Pathfinder nations, First recipients dash Bangladesh, Pakistan, Costa Rica, Costa Rica, RICA. We discussed this a while back. We discussed this. Costa Rica, Ghana, Ghana, Senegal, 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 Philippines. I'll write it here. Philippines, 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 and the last one Fiji, and the last one is Fiji. Okay, Fiji. Fair. Chalo. That was comprehensive. Former Indian bureaucrat C.V. Anand Bose has been appointed governor of West Bengal, because the previous governor Jagdeep Dhankar has now become the vice president of India. Tamil Nadu governor is R.N. Ravi. Odisha, Professor Ganeshi Lal. I'm so sorry. Professor Ganeshi Lal. Kerala, Muhammad Arif Khan. Telangana, my state, is Tamilisai Soundararajan. In a first of its kind initiative in India, which state brought out the elephant death audit framework to document reasons for elephant deaths for better accountability of the same. Tamil Nadu has done this. See, between 1st January 2021 or between January 2021 and March 2022, about 131 elephants were killed in Tamil Nadu. But of these 131, 13 died of, because of human-induced activity, 13. So 10% of the deaths, elephant deaths between January and March this year, January last year and March this year, can be attributed to human-induced activity. So the government is now looking at how can we mitigate the circumstances which lead to unnatural deaths of elephants. What steps can be taken? What steps can be taken to lessen the scope for such deaths? I mean, a lot of things the government is doing. It's good. State governments are taking initiative. We have Project Tiger. But then there is something called Project Elephant. You could write this. Project Elephant. Launched in 1992. Launched in 1992. 32 elephant reserves. Today there are 32 elephant reserves, and the largest is the Mysuru Elephant Reserve, which is 6,700 square kilometer big. Okay. Chal. Identify the entrepreneur of Indian origin who has or have been named by entrepreneurs by the Fortune magazine in its annual 40 under 40 business line. Okay. Both 1 and 2. I would want to, so crypto will not discuss. Look at bicycle health. Now, on the face of it, when I first read this, I thought, okay, this must be a startup promoting use of bicycle to promote health, isn't it? That's how the name sounds. But I could be, I was 3,900 kilometers away from truth. I'm just kidding. I was quite away from the truth. The truth is this. You write this. Bicycle health is a telemedicine based treatment for opioid addiction, opioid use disorder. There is a disorder called opioid use disorder. What is an opioid? It's like a painkiller. It's basically a painkiller, and some of us get addicted to painkillers. You might have some uncle, some cousin somewhere who's like, who always takes painkillers for headaches and all that stuff, joint pains, whatever. For whatever reason, people take painkillers. Sometimes they get addicted to such painkillers. And that, over a period of time, that, addiction leads to, lowering of efficiency or efficacy of the treatment itself. So the body becomes, a kind of slave to such painkillers. And that has its own problems. That could lead to a lot of problems. People who have opioid use disorder, their concentration levels are low. Their body, behaves very strangely in the sense that they're not very stable. Okay. So to treat this kind of an opioid use disorder, Ankit has started this telemedicine based treatment. I was reading about him. He did his BTech at IIT Bombay. Okay. And then he went to do an MS in computer science, if I'm not wrong. MS from Stanford University. So people do a lot of different kind of work. Huh? MS in machine learning. MS in machine learning. India rose 2 spots to rank dash out of 63 in the Climate Change Performance Index 2023. 8th. You could write this. Climate Change Performance Index. Climate Change Performance Index. This has been a pretty long class. 2023. Right. Underline that. First one. India's rank is not necessary. India rank 8. India rank 8. In brackets, 10th rank in 2022. 2022. Next. Only G20 country. Only G20 country. Only G20 country. In top 10. In top 10. Next. This index ranked 63 countries. It's mentioned there. 63 countries on climate protection and other energy use categories and energy use categories. How does climate protection happen here? By reducing greenhouse gas emissions, by bringing in alternate means, renewable sources of energy. Yeah. So next, top three places were left empty, were left blank, blank, as no country performed optimally, optimally, optimally. Next. Rank 4, because top 3 were vacant. Top 4, Denmark, and rank 4, Denmark. Rank 5, Sweden. Sweden. Chalo. I forgot that it's all mentioned here. So anyway, Sweden 5th, 6th was Chile. It's already mentioned, so I'm not going to discuss this. Which country recently announced a 3,000 work visa program for young professionals from India? UK, because the UK has already mentioned that we are going to promote we are going to issue skill-based visa, that is. So they are going to call in people with high professional ability. Okay, highly skilled persons would be welcomed into Britain. Now, I want you to know that this was announced by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak after he met Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia. In the case of Italy, they have a new Prime Minister, Giorgio Meloni. Okay. No, this is a woman now. Georgia. Woman. Giorgia Meloni. Spanish Prime Minister, I think it's Pedro Sanchez. I think that should be fine. In which state was a new greenfield airport named Donny Polo Airport inaugurated by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi? This is the terminal building, and this is a runway. It looks nice now. Look at the scenic. Oh, beautiful. This is in Arunachal Pradesh. This airport is also called Itanagar Airport. Itanagar Airport, which Itanagar, as you know, is the capital of Arunachal Pradesh. It's also called Holongi, aka Holongi. Holongi Airport. So three names: Itanagar Airport, Doni Polo Airport, Holongi Airport. This is the 16th airport in Northeast India. 16th airport. Okay. The chief minister is just extra stuff. Pema Khandu. Pema Khandu. Identify the correct statements about the 17th G20 summit in Bali. All of them are correct. So I think since we already discussed the G20 summit in the past as well, the previous one and the coming up, the one that we are going to host in sometime in November next year. Okay. Which nation hosted the No Money for Terror conference? India. India. It had about 450 delegates from across the world. Okay, even delegates from the FATF. You know the FATF, Financial Action Task Force. Financial Action Task Force. These delegates also had come to attend this. So this was India. Of course, there's hardly anything to discuss. New Delhi. It was hosted in New Delhi. Which nation assumed the presidency of the United Nations Security Council in November 2022? Ghana. This is Ghana. This tiny country you see is Ghana. Even tinier is its neighbor, eastern neighbor, Togo. So Ghana's capital is Accra. Its president is Nana Akufo Addo. And the currency is Cedi. Currency is Cedi. Currency is Cedi. Yeah. We discussed the rest of these countries. Even South Africa is not required now. But we could write this. UN Security Council. UN Security Council. P5. Permanent 5. Permanent 5. Plus non-permanent 10. Non-permanent 10. Non-permanent 10. I want you to write something more over this. Shall we write the names of the countries in the G20? The permanent 10? Right. India. In Asia, there are two. India and United Arab Emirates. India and UAE. India and UAE. Next. Africa. Africa has three. Ghana. Gabon. 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 I repeat. Gabon. And Kenya. It's not there. Kenya. So 5 have come. 3 from Africa, 2 from Asia. Next. Europe. Let's go up. Let me clear this. Ireland, Norway, Albania. Next. So 8 have come. 2 more are there. Right. In the Americas, there are 2 countries. What are the 2 countries in Americas? One is in South America, Brazil, and one in North America, Mexico. Brazil and Mexico. So all 10 have come. On the sidelines of the G20 summit, which country signed a 20 billion agreement called Just Energy Transition Partnership? Just means fair. Transition in this case. Just means fair. with international lenders and money. Okay. Indonesia. This is Indonesia. How big is Indonesia? It has more than 17,500 islands. That, ladies and gentlemen, makes it the world's largest archipelago. Archipelago is a group of islands, world's largest archipelago. Okay, you see, this is Jakarta, the capital. This is the island of Sumatra. This is the island of Java. This is the world's most populous island. You could write this also. World's most populous island, Java. What could be the population? About 13 crore population. 13 crore population. Indonesia is the world's largest archipelago. You could also write world's most populous Muslim nation. World's most populous Muslim nation. Muslim nation. World's most populous Muslim nation. And fourth overall. Fourth overall. China, India, US. You know what's the population? 20 in brackets. 26 crore. Which means 50% of this population is on this island of Java. Okay, next. Capital. What is this? Capital. Jakarta. Next point. Proposed new capital. Nusantara. This is where the new capital is going to be. Here, where I put this. Yeah, this dot. Nusantara in Kalimantan province, Borneo Island. This entire island is called Borneo. Okay, it's a very big island. It's the third biggest island in the world. This one. This island is unique. The southern part is Indonesia. The northern part is Malaysia. Within the northern part, there is a small piece of land. Yeah, that is Brunei, a separate country. Brunei. Okay. What's the currency? What's the president? What's president's name? Indonesia's president's name is Joko Widodo, and the currency is rupiah. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveiled a 108 feet tall bronze statue of Sri Nadhaprabhu Kempe Gowda in Bengaluru. This statue is called the Statue of Prosperity. Statue of Prosperity. You know, this sword, you see this? This is 4,000 kg weight. I was stunned to read this. 4,000 kg sword. Yeah. He's said to be the founder of the city of Bengaluru. Okay. He was an aide of the Vijayanagara Emperor Sri Krishna Devaraya. Kempegowda ji was born in 1510 and he passed away in 1569. He is said to have laid the foundations of Bengaluru, built fortifications around it, you know, built canals, the lakes and all that stuff, which are still there. Yeah. And this is the bronze statue. What is it? Bronze statue. See, the Bengaluru International Airport is called Kempegowda International Airport. Even the bus station there is called Kempegowda Bus Station. Yeah. He was an expert in martial arts, use of sword and all, Dharma Shastras, philosophy, grammar. So he was a polymath. EMI is a fixed payment amount made by a borrower to a lender at a specified date each calendar month. What is the E in EMI? Equated monthly installment. This is a story of the lives of a lot of people. Equated monthly installment. A lot of people buy stuff on EMI basis. They don't want to make a lump sum payment. And these days, no cost EMIs are there, which effectively means that you don't have to pay interest and everything. Of course, there are always some or the other hidden charges. You need to check. You need to be very clear about this. Yeah. EMI. Equated means it's already made equal. That's why equated monthly installment. A dash is the possibility of an investor experiencing losses due to factors that affect the overall performance of the financial market in which she or he is involved. Market risk. See, this is a very dicey thing. Market risk. They say that mutual funds ads at the bottom they write this in fine print, or when there is a TV ad they say that mutual fund performance or whatever is risk is subject to market risk and all. See, there is always a market risk. If your uncle comes up and says that, when I say uncle, it could be any person, okay, comes up and says that, look, I understand the stock market, follow my advice. Please understand that there is no one in this world who understands the stock market. If you look at persons like Warren Buffett or Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, they failed many times, but the press, but the stories in the media never talk about those failures. They always talk about the successes. And remember, his success has come over, over 6 decades, more than 6 decades. He didn't work, just like that. He had been very patient. When he bought shares of Coca-Cola in the 1960s or 70s, he kept those shares. And that's how they have increased in values. But most people, want to become traders. They want to buy shares in the morning and sell in the evening. And a lot of experts would say that this is a very dangerous way of living. Okay. I can tell you one thing. I'll end the class with this. In the game of bulls and bears, most of us, you and me, most of us end up donkeys. This is something I've learned. In the game of bulls and bears, most of us end up donkeys. Be very careful with money. Okay? Don't follow people's advice. Do your own work, do research, background work, and then invest. There's always risk, but you should be very careful about this. Okay, how you mitigate the risk, how you lower the chances of losing stuff is important. Okay, like when you ride a two-wheeler, always wear a helmet. That mitigates, lower the chances of a head injury. Thank you for being here. Have a lot of fun. I know this is the last question. Thank you for being here. Have a lot of fun. Stay curious. Thank you.